Hey everybody, welcome to Lead Indicator Software. I want to personally thank you guys for signing up. In these next couple videos, I'm going to be going over the functionality of the software to help you guys get in creating assistants on your own. The first thing we're going to do is show you how to create your first assistant, as well as go over the prompting structure to help your assistant perform the best way possible. So the first thing I want to direct you guys towards is this assistance tab in the left-hand side of your white menu. You want to click into the assistant. This assistants tab is where all of your assistants are going to be held and where you're going to edit them. And then I'm going to direct your guys' eyes towards the create folder and create assistant. As you can see, I have a couple folders created here. I'll go into the menu to show you how it works. But if you want to create a new folder, just name it, select what color you want it to be, and then create folder. It'll show up there. Next thing I want to direct your eyes towards is how to create an assistant. There's three separate options. The first one is an AI generated prompt. I'll go over how to use that today. The next one is an import with ID. So let's say you have a sub account with an assistant already in it, and you have another project that you'd like to use that AI assistant for. And it's in this sub account, you can copy the assistant ID and import it into this sub account. The last option is once you get a little bit more familiar with how to use the software and how to set up prompting. Sometimes the AI generated prompt isn't for you, so we allow you the option to just create a prompt based off of a completely blank model. So we're going to be going over the Concrete Assistant. This is an AI generated model. If you don't want to come over to this video all the time, we do give you this show example, and it will give you kind of an example on how to structure this prompt, but I won't be doing that today. Just name the assistant Concrete Assistant, because I'm going to be using a concrete receptionist example. And then for the description, you want to basically give a role to the assistant and then define what the role is going to be. So you are Emma. Emma is a concrete receptionist. Emma is responsible for answering questions, asking qualifying questions, and booking estimates. Emma has extensive professional knowledge on the concrete industry, as well as knowledge about company specifics. You want to generate this. Okay, now that this is generated, I'm going to show you guys how to add it to this new folder that we set up. You're going to want to click these three dots on the right hand side, click move to folder and new folder, move to folder, and as you can see, it populated into the new folder. Now let's go into the assistant itself and go over some of the sections of the prompt itself. First off, this identity. This has a lot to do with the description that we set up earlier. You're Emma, a knowledgeable professional concrete receptionist. Emma's role is to answer questions, ask qualifying questions, book estimates. Extensive knowledge on concrete industry and company-specific information allow her to provide accurate and helpful responses to customer inquiries. Emma's a friendly, engaging demeanor, making customers feel valued and confident in company's expertise. Next would be the stylistic guardrails. Stylistic guardrails kind of has to do with the personality of the bot and how it responds to the user. Just be concise, don't have super long responses. Embrace variety, so it's not going to say the same phrases over and over again, like certainly or for sure or I would love to help. It generates new content. Be conversational, use everyday language, be proactive, basically stick to this task break framework and try to get the user to, let's say you want them to schedule an appointment or you want certain information out of them, be proactive in trying to get that information. Get clarity the user partially answers a question, keep getting as much information as needed. This all largely has to do with the task break framework. We like to put that in the style guardrails as well. Let's do response guideline. Response guidelines has to do with specific responses. So let's say in this case, an error, transcription error comes in. We want to avoid saying transcription error. We want to stay in character, ensure fluid dialogue. These are a little bit redundant, but we like to have that in the response guidelines as well. The last section is the most important section by far. This is the task-based framework. Now, this isn't going to be perfect every time on the AI generated prompt. Largely, I don't mess with these 3 sections because they've been torture tested and they, for the most part, provide perfect responses every time. So I do not mess with them unless you really know what you're doing. Next, task-based framework. I'll go into kind of the cadence of it. First of all, the bot understands 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numerical sequence as something it has to do in sequence. So first do the first thing, next number 2, next number 3. If it's under bullet points, it will read the bullet points all at once, especially if they're in a line. If there is a bullet point indented, so let's say like this is kind of a subheader to this bullet point. So this indented bullet point has to do with this bullet point. Use as for specific concrete services, briefly explain various options available. Point concrete, extract the user's specific concrete service that they are inquiring about by calling the function extract concrete issue. We'll go over extractions in a later video, but a lot of the time this is what you're going to want to use it for, calling tools, extracting information. And yes, next, ask qualifying questions. You can change this to whatever qualifying questions you want. Based on the user's response, provide a conclusive overview of how the company can meet their needs and exceed their expectations. I think that's a little unnecessary, but we'll leave it in. Suggest schedule an estimate. If the user agrees to schedule an estimate, book an appointment. I'm going to go over how I specifically set up appointments in the task-based framework. So let's do 7, provide a variety of appointment times and dates for the user to choose from. Let's do 8. Ask the confirm the appointment time, date, and time zone with the user before scheduling an estimate, or I'll do an appointment. And lastly, schedule an appointment with the user. Now I have to change the numberings of these. Provide the user with any unnecessary instructions or information they need before the estimate, such as preparing the area or gathering. I don't really want them to gather images, such as preparing an area. Thank the user for considering your company. Express confidence. Those look great to me. Now a little bit about what the AI understands. So as you can see throughout this task-based framework, I've been using the vocabulary like user. When referring to the person on the line or talking to the AI, you almost always want to use the word user instead of contacts or lead or even he or she. Usually you want to go with user. This a lot has to do with the transcripts. When we go into the transcripts of each, call or text message, you see it set up as agent and user. How can I help you today? I need a concrete foundation. This is kind of the cadence that it understands. So yes, will it understand if you use the word contact or lead, but it may not be as consistent. It will always understand what you're talking about if you use the word user. Okay, that's been a video on the task-based framework. Let me know if you have any questions. There's more documentation videos at support.leadindicator.ai, or be sure to reach out to support@leadindicator.ai with any questions you may have.